that was an amazing experience. That was an amazing and an opportunity that I received to grow, that I really received to grow. So, ooh, you have been there. You have seen some things, Jewa. You have, OMG.
Yes.
Wow, that's how you can tell good friends. And Jewa, I got to tell you, family, Jewa's never judgmental about anything. She's just like, okay, well, what are we going to do now? that's all. That's all Jewa ever has to say. Jewa, do you realize the whole world is falling apart? Well, okay. Well, what are we going to do about it? Like, okay, what are we going to do
Keep
about
it
it?
moving.
Isn't that the number one question? Okay, what you going to do about it?
It finally is coming to a head. That whole question, what you going to do about it?
Okay, talk about it with regard to the world and what's going on right now. Dr. Jewa Lee, master teacher, Egyptologist. I could go on and on and on. Tell us about it. Break it down for us. Since you're going right there already, let's go.
Well, right now we're experiencing a great disruption to our patterns and habits and how things should be or ought to be. Even our ways we do commerce and trade and incarcerate people and everything is being looked at and saying, does this really make sense? I mean, from how we just go about our daily lives, the time and energy we spend on survival as opposed to appreciating. And so for those people who are interested, I think there's this opportunity now to feel, to go inward and appreciate and learn about yourself. Because really there's no one else out there other than you.
There's no one else
other than you. And so when I just find it so interesting that I spend a lot of my time alone, and not by.
So do I, and I love it.
And so this to me is just like, okay, well, what's really crimped my routine is, or my renovation places, or all those kinds. That's a bummer for me. But other than that, my life has really been unchanged. And so just watching people trip over the fact that they have to be by themselves, it says a lot. It says a lot that they may not even feel comfortable with who they are, and now they're stuck with having to either look at it or self-medicate or get sick and choose to check out.
Wow. So we're entering the age of Aquarius, like we were speaking of earlier today. And can you share what that means?
Well, age of Aquarius, if you think of the zodiac contains 12 signs, with starting at Aquarius at 12 o'clock and going around the clock all the way around again to Aquarius, with Leo being at 6 o'clock. So age of Aquarius is a feminine energy sign. It is a sign of enlightenment. It's a sign of being in tune with your higher self, creative, receptive, being a vehicle. And the symbolism of 12 o'clock, it also stands for high noon. And so what happens at high noon? There are no shadows at high noon.
Sun. Full on sun.
Full sun. And so any shadows or anything that you think that you can hide under, they no longer exist. everything is exposed. And so people are seeing a lot of stuff just come up, or having to face themselves in these times, because there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to hide.
And I look at all the characters that are playing out on the global scale, and we could start seeing this revealing coming when they were revealing how much black and white still mattered in this country. Like people thought the 60s, oh, we dealt with that. No, we didn't. It was under the surface, right?
Right.
We didn't heal that.
No.
Right. And then we got the president, and that was a revealing of, wow, look how many people really are on board for this.
You know,
more
we
revelation.
had Obama. We had Obama in office, and he was gorgeous and educated and articulate, and we fell asleep.
Paradise.
We fell asleep because we were like, oh yeah, we don't have to think about anything.
We just showed up. Yeah. Oh, look how beautiful Michelle is. And look at the kids. Oh, we loved it.
And you know, minors, not minors.
It was 8 years of Camelot.
Yeah, right? And things flared up, but he would handle it in a diplomatic way and kind of assuage and put some balm on the wound, and you know, had an elegant way of talking about race and conflict and all this stuff, but it was not really addressing.
And totally unflappable. Totally unflappable. Yeah.
Unflappable. But it wasn't healing us. You know, it was things that we needed to hear, but as far as what was going on within us, nothing was being really healed. But now Trump is you cannot fall asleep on Trump.
He is the poster child of healing. He will help you.
Yes. You want to know how whites are feeling about this or whites are feeling about that? I mean, there is no mincing of words, no ambiguity. And it's shocking because America, which was built on slavery,
black slaves, that's right,
on people of color, yeah. And so why are we surprised that we still have these issues? You know, just because we have been released doesn't necessarily mean that everybody liked it. So, you know, I think it's a gift. I think Trump is a gift because he allows us to see all the ugliness just to come up, and not only to see how it looks, but where am I holding that kind of ugliness to? And really having to deal and really addressing that. You know, it's easy to go like, oh, he, and then you wait, whoa, wait a minute. It's not. If I'm able to observe it consciously, then it's in my consciousness. It's in my consciousness, and I have to address it, plain and simple. And so he's the gift that keeps on giving.
He's what a holy messenger. He's like the Christ come again, really. In a whole different way, waking up humanity in a whole different way. So tell us about your book. Show us your book. Tell us about your book.
Here's my book.
She's so beautiful. Look at that book, baby. Oh, she's so beautiful. Tell us, what is the name and what is it about?
It's entitled Cor Perfectum, What You Don't Know About Your Life. I mean, what you don't know about your heart may be killing your life. So let me say that again. It's called Cor Perfectum, What You Don't Know About Your Heart may be killing your life. And so this book was a result of a lecture I did in Las Vegas back in 2012. And it was a lecture on the heart. And because of the audience that I was addressing the metaphysical, ancient wisdoms And then also because of my background as a chiropractor, which is a medical professional, I had the anatomy, physiology, so I put everything into this lecture. And so, but it was only an hour and a half long. And so people were afterwards and said, well, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. And so Core Perfectum is the result of this, of the lecture, and the research that I did as a result of that lecture. And your seminar, your weekend, a book in a weekend, I attended your book in a weekend back in 2013. I can always tell by the dedication, because I have 2 dates in there. One for when I first started, and then the other one for when I almost was ready to go to publication. So 2013, the weekend of June 2nd, 2013 was your workshop.
Was your book in a weekend retreat. Oh my goodness. And a bunch of us came together at the retreat. And how did the lecture, you already had the material, the scientific material, and the metaphysical material, and the life experience material. And so what happened when you came to the retreat?
I was a man on a mission. I mean, there were other women there who were trying to figure out what they're going to write, and you were helping them with that process. And I'm like, you do that. I know what I have to do. And I put myself in the corner and I just started just typing, and just downloading whatever else what was coming through and just putting it on paper. And after that weekend, the good majority, I would say probably 80% of my book was written.
80% of the book was written in June. You had the whole, pretty much the manuscript complete.
Right.
By the end of that weekend. And some of the women who attended, the women were all in different stages with their book writing. Some were still in resistance. And so we worked to help move some of them through resistance. Some were ready to do a little bit of writing and tinker around. And some were ready. And you were in the ready camp.
Yeah. And I remember, having it done and then putting it aside.
So what happened after the retreat? So the retreat, you leave the retreat with 80% of the manuscript. What happened after that?
After that, I put it aside and I gave it to somebody to read. And it's really great. However, where are you in it? Where are you in this book? And I'm like, what do you mean? She said, well, she said, ironically, there's no heart in this book.
About heart. That's very fascinating. And that's powerful feedback. There's no heart in this book about heart. Because it was all about the heart, but it wasn't about Jewa in it.
Right. And so I said, oh, I have to put myself in this book, huh?
Ooh.
And then
vulnerability.
Vulnerability. And then it took me a while, but I started adding anecdotes about my life in the book. And it made the book more readable. It didn't make it just like a whole lot of facts and figures, or not even facts and figures, but just a lot of data or esoteric stuff. It was a great combination of all these things.
Okay, so then how did you get from, and when was the actual publication of the actual completed book?
2018. I think it was October. Well, the last finishing touches were done in July of 2018, and I launched the book in October of 2018.
Okay. So, what was going on between 2013 and 2018? And I want to say something to our authors. It took me 10 years to write and publish my first book, and for Jewa, 6 years. This is not an unusual story. So, what was unfolding? And we always look at things through the lens of total, complete, unconditional love and never judging self. Simply, this is my process. This is what I learned, and this is what unfolded for me. So I wanted to share that with the audience because I know you're there, Jiwa. The audience may be like, oh, it's taking me so long to do this, my first book. So what was occurring for you between 2013 and 2018?
A lot. I had recently divorced. I ironically got displaced from my own home. Um, I had moved around a lot, doing a lot of different rehab projects in different states, and got distracted with survival. And
wow, that is amazing.
mm-hmm.
That is a profound realization. Okay,
Yeah.
continue. That is a
And
profound realization. I became, because I see in my life where I became over, where survival was the number one overarching consideration from morning till night. And that's not
mm-hmm.
a space of creativity.
No, no, it hardly ever thrives in that kind of environment, and not even aware of it. You just, the days go by so that you're not even aware that you're on this thing until something disrupts it, and you have a moment. You stumble across the manuscript. You look at it, you go, I don't have time for that right now.
I can't deal. I can't deal.
Can't deal. And the book itself, I mean, I didn't mind letting other people read it. I didn't I have friends who are editors and from major publications. Maybe I have friends who are authors, and so I freely gave it to them for their feedback because I really wanted to know what they thought. And everybody loved the book.
Yeah.
However, some the best comment I got was the one about where are you in it? And so, after I put myself in it, then I had to look at, the order of the book, and the flow of the book. And so one day I just took the manuscript, and each chapter I just put on the floor in a separate pile. And I just, wherever I was led to pick up, that was the first chapter. And then picked up whatever I picked up, felt inspired to pick up, that was the second chapter. And pretty much that's how the book ended up being published. And then finally, the latter part of the book really puts together all the different pieces that I've put together, in showing what the heart actually is and what it's actually doing in service to us on a moment-to-moment basis, and how ignorant we are of the power that we have within us, which resides in our chest.
I was shocked when I read that part. I was like, our heart is doing all of this. How come no one told us? Such a vital organ. They told us about the care of the heart. And if something goes with your heart, you got real issues. No one has ever really delineated the critical functions of the heart on multiple levels of consciousness, like this book, not just physical.
Right.
And we read, like we were talking about earlier, we read metaphysical books and they say, live from the heart and let the heart lead you. Well, what does that mean?
Right. And it sounds nice.
Sounds very nice.
But how to access that, and what's actually happening, I think is, once people really understand. It's like the Matrix. You take the the red pill. There's no going
Ah,
back.
you
You
can't
know,
go back.
there's no going back. And
Mhm.
so, once I got all those pieces together, and I finally got the nerve up to write the final chapter. Well, not the final chapter.
Ooh,
It's the one of the last chapters in the book, which is called
why did you have to get your nerve up to write those chapters?
um I think the reason why was once I wrote it, I would have to live it.
Woo! Ding, 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 ding. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I would have to live it. And so, I
Because
said
I
it
put
was
it up there in the book, and
yes,
I can't very well not be doing this.
right,
Yeah.
right. And
Hmm.
so there's a lot of symbolism with the heart, and I use that symbolism in the number of chapters that I put in the book. And that's there's a reasoning behind that. And so the second to the last chapter is the one that took me a while to come to, because it's basically like throwing down the gauntlet. It's like, okay, this is it.
This is it.
Get your
Bottom line.
bottom line. This is it. So, what you gonna do?
What you gonna do? Whether it's Rona, Trump, or whatever, it's still the same thing. What you gonna do? What are you going to
Hmm.
do with your consciousness?
Right, right. Heart disease is the number one killer of African American women in the United States.
Wow.
I mean, it's the number one killer of women in the United States, but African American women more than Caucasian women. It's like 40, the last statistics that I have is like 47.7% of African American women over the age of 20 have heart
Oh my
disease.
goodness. What accounts for that metaphysically, would you say, in consciousness, like the root core of it?
Thinking that for African American women, thinking that they have to do it all themselves.
Look at that. It's a killer. We have an S on our chest, and that's a killer. Jewa,
And,
I
for
see this. Oh my goodness. I see this play out. I was at the airport not too long ago, and there was this Black couple there. And this is a recurring thing that I see a lot. It was a Black woman and a Black man and a child. And the child was in a stroller. And the Black woman was hustling. I mean, she was picking up the bags. We were at the security part checkpoint where you put it in. She was unzipping this, unzipping that. She didn't want him to touch anything because it looked like he was dummy and he couldn't figure out how to take a bag off the stroller and put it on a conveyor belt. And he's standing there, a big, strapping, perfectly fine man. And she was in hyper overdrive. And I'm looking at myself, and Spirit said, "That's what you look like." Wow, that's what I look like. Well, why would I want to do that?
I
When
was
all these
watching.
wonderful men are saying, "Let me, get this
Go
bag
ahead.
for you," or what? No, no, I got it. Or the men are here. The men are doing all these wonderful things for us. We're the ones saying no.
Right, right.
And that's what's killing us.
That's what's killing us.
Ooh, I feel book number 2 coming on. Oh my goodness, we need a book on that. Because you know what I've noticed too? I've noticed that I don't see that with white women. I don't. And I don't want to be racist and I don't want to throw sweeping generalities because I can't say every Black woman is like this and every white woman is like that. In general, I watch the white women because I just love keep watching. I love observing. And I see the white women, I see them go to the Uber with their husband, and there's 3 or 4 bags. They're standing there almost directing the husband on what to put on, and the husband is he's picking up all the bags and he's throwing them in, and she's looking at everything to make sure it's done. She's like the overseer, kind of. And then they get in the car and they go. That kind of energy. And when I see black couples, not saying all black couples, the woman is the one hustling, and the man is, it's not that he wouldn't do something if invited or accepted or
Or
didn't,
yeah,
yeah, or we didn't act like he didn't know what the hell he was doing.
right.
He can do it. And if you send him to take care of the baby, don't come behind him and tell him how to take care of the baby. He's going to take care of the baby. Now the diaper might be twisted to the side. You ain't got to correct it. Leave it. I used to do that. Oh my God, you don't even know how to do a diaper. Like,
Oh my
we be
God,
looking at
it was so funny. My ex-husband used to admonish his friends whenever he would say, "Oh yeah, I'm with my kids tonight," because Jewa has a meeting or this. And they say, "Oh, you're babysitting your kids?" He said, "No, I don't babysit my kids." So the whole idea, of I hear about generational consciousness, and it also has, what's expected. Men, if they are taught, or in a household that taught it, are wonderful. And I seem to attract wonderful men as far
yeah,
as just the general things that are chivalrous, and
yeah, because we love that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, opening doors, opening car doors, carrying luggage, bags in from the grocery store, all those kinds of things. And now my son, whose father, does the same thing. He said, "Don't touch that door." And I'm like, "Okay." And he'll go and he'll open the door, and stuff like that. So it's something that they're wanting to do. They really want to be able to do these things and not feel wrong. No one wants to feel wrong. They don't want to feel
hmm,
wrong about doing something like that. Hmm.
wow. So now tell us, with this book writing journey and all that you share in the book, what was your biggest breakthrough as a person while writing this book? Because everything is part of our curriculum, right? Everything is some opportunity for us to
Right.
transform. What was it for you? I know what writing does for me in publishing books. Oh my goodness, just over the top. What was it for you?
Well, the breakthrough was like, damn, I'm a pretty good writer.
Hello. Oh my goodness, we were talking about that earlier. That we write something, then we leave it, and we come back and look at it and be like, damn, this is good. But it's
That's
still
what
not out there.
actually, yeah, that's what actually propelled me to finish it. I had put it aside for maybe a couple of years. And one of my friends, who's a writer, said, "When was the last time you worked on your book?" I'm like, "Girl, please." She said, "Girl, pick up your book and read it from the first page to where you ended." I picked up the book, I started reading. I
Oh,
said, "This is
this
pretty good."
is good. What was I thinking? Why do I keep losing my baby?
And
Why
so
do I keep
I
avoiding this process?
said, "This needs to be out. So let me finish it. Just let me just finish." And I didn't realize how what the whole the the whole thing I had with finishing. I just ended a relationship with a guy who I realized didn't finish anything. I mean, we would do rehab jobs, and there was always one little thing that had to go back to if he ever got back to it. And there was one little piece of thing that, you know, and I'm like, and I remember we were rehabbing our house, and I had just finished the floors, hardwood floors, stained them, beautiful. Do you
Ooh.
know he dragged some heavy furniture across the floor before it had a chance to cure? And now it was unfinished. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Wow.
And so
This is
the whole
consciousness playing out. This is my
oh,
consciousness
my
playing out.
consciousness playing out. And so I had to start
Uh-huh.
looking around. Okay, well, what haven't I finished? Oh, duh, you haven't finished your book. so,
Wow.
so you need to
Wow.
start. Finish. There is something empowering with seeing your book in publication and getting reviews. And I
You have
submit.
all 5-star reviews on Amazon, by the way. We're going to link up below this vid.
Oh
All
wow!
5-star. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I submitted my book into a contest, Book Life, Book Prize, Book Life contest, and I reached the quarterfinals.
Yes.
And then my book made the quarterfinals. And I'm like, well, this is really cool.
This is really confirmation from your world that this is a big yes in the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was just, I think the biggest breakthrough for me was the realization that I had issues with finishing. And then the other part was really owning my mastery.
Oh.
If I could write about it, I had to live it.
Oh. So with the finishing, we were talking about it earlier, and you can share whatever you desire to share. What was the issue with finishing? Because I had a similar issue.
Yeah, the issue with finishing is was what's next?
What am I going to do next? I've been working
What am
on
I going to do
this.
next?
Yeah.
So
What now?
if I'm not finished, I know that this still remains.
I
know
still
what
have to
this
go
is.
back to it. I still have to work on this. Yeah.
Yeah. I know this. Or
yeah.
I know that little piece needs to be finished, and I know where that piece is. I'm comfortable with that.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that. But it's preventing you from freeing you up for the next thing.
For the next.
Whatever it is. And so the whole illusion that we have about what our lives are going to be, our plans and our calendars and our agendas, right now, blown up.
Bye-bye.
It's like God is laughing, like, yeah, now do you see what I'm talking about, y'all? Don't plan anything. Live in the moment, live day to day, appreciate where you are in the moment, because it's all an illusion.
It's all an illusion. Oh my God. And I love what Izzy said about finishing. And when you said, I don't know what I'm going to do next, what did she say?
She says, she said, don't worry about what's next. Let God handle that. That's none of your business.
So you mean I'm not supposed to know what's next?
No.
So you mean I'm not supposed to be in control mode writing my book, trying to figure out the next sentence?
No.
That's not where I'm supposed to be. Where am I supposed to be, Jewa? Or where do I get to be? Not even supposed to be. Where do I get to be?
Get to be in the moment. And a lot of this book, I swear, I don't remember writing.
That's always the secret, like, oh my God, they're gonna think I really wrote this. And deep inside, you didn't really write it. People are gonna think I really wrote this. But I'm looking at it coming out of me, like this is coming from somewhere. I'm gonna go with it because it's so good. I didn't write this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at, yeah, a lot of stuff I don't remember writing.
Mm,
A lot of the stuff is facts and figures and stuff like that. There's no getting around that because of some of the technical data around the heart, and there's not a lot of it, so I don't want to scare people, but just enough to get a flavor of that side of the heart and how we interpret it. And then I go off into what the heart really does.
mm,
And when I got into that part, it was like, I'm a student of A Course in Miracles. And
mhm.
so I just found myself quoting Course in Miracles stuff and quoting life experience based on Course of Miracles stuff. And it was like, wow, okay. So this is how it's all coming together. It's all coming together based on what I'm learning and what I'm living, And so it became an organic experience. It wasn't like, oh, okay, I'm going to lock myself in the room for an hour and force myself to write. It was never like
And
that.
force myself to write some words. Yuck.
It was
With no
never like,
inspiration.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so whenever I put it aside and picked it back up, me rereading it, helped me, ironically enough, reintroduce myself to my own material, to the material. I can't even claim it as mine. I just the instrument through which it was going through. And so then it would inspire me to say, oh, okay, well, this maybe may need to be fleshed out a little bit because maybe I'm making an assumption here, or
Mhm.
that somebody already understands what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
And so a lot of the times when I went back, it was actually fleshing out what was already there, so people had a broader understanding. Just because I have an engineering background.
Yeah, and you're very technical and very smart. I was talking about you today on the live stream. I was like, G was a genius. She's probably one of the smartest people I know. And yeah. And still, this book is so accessible and it's so well written. It's so well done. I see why it got into the quarterfinalists of the awards because it's so well done. It really is, Jiwa. You did an
Thank
exquisite. It's exquisite. It really is.
It's
You
not I,
know,
but the Father within.
you did a
Definitely.
beautiful job. My goodness. So when
You
I
know,
called you to ask you if you would interview, you were like, yes, since you were the one to help me midwife this baby. I'm like, I have so many babies all over the world that I've been a midwife for. I have a lot of babies. And I
right? And you were in Bali doing a book retreat, I believe, when I launched my book.
you're right, because we did go to Bali in October 2018. You are absolutely right. We were at the Your Book in 5 Days Bali retreat.
Yep.
Yep. And so we're about to wrap up because I know both of us have someone to serve. Have you have a group to serve
Yes.
coming up shortly in a few minutes at the top of the hour, and I have a client to serve coming up at the top of the hour. So I want to, not I want to. My desire is for our audience to be inspired and to know that God calling, right? So what would you offer to someone who maybe is struggling with writing that first book, or they don't even know what they want to write about, or anything with regard to this? What would you say to them?
That you have so much help around you. There's more unseen than seen in this universe. And so don't let your body eyes deceive you into thinking that what's in front of you is all that there is. There it's not. And that right now you have a great opportunity. If you're going to write a book, this is the perfect time to do it because it's free of distractions.
Mhm.
There's there's an opportunity for great stillness and great listening, um, and you just have to allow yourself to ask. Just
Mhm.
allow yourself to ask, what am I supposed to write? And see what comes. And I mean, it sounds so simple, but
Mhm.
there are parts of you. You have, I go through it in the book, but there's more to you than an ego and a body. You have your higher self and your Holy Spirit and your soul. There are 5 parts of you, 5 aspects of you. And so utilize the 3 that you may be unfamiliar with to tap into understanding what it is you're to write. Your higher your higher spirit is your higher self and your Holy Spirit. I joke that your Holy Spirit is like, you know, chewing gum and filing her nails, just waiting.
Because we ain't asking nothing. We over here trying to figure it out. Oh, I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah. She's loving on you, watching over you, and just waiting for you to ask.
Whew.
And she will let you know exactly what you need to write if you ask. But you have to ask. See, that's the wonderful thing about free will. Nothing will be forced upon you.
Mhm.
Absolutely nothing. You have to be willing and open channel to receive, and then once you receive it, act on it. Don't
Yes.
question it or wonder whether or not this is real. Write it down and see where it takes you. And then when you get stuck again, ask again. What would you have me say? What would you have me do? Where would
Where
you
would
have
you?
me go?
Mm.
Who would you have me say it to? And
Say it
who would
too.
you have me talk to? And who, it's just like, it's just fundamental questions that I've learned over time based on my study in A Course in Miracles. And I teach A Course in Miracles now. And I teach law now because it's just become a part of my life. It's nowhere around it for me because it's just where I am. And so you have to ask. You have to ask, because if you don't ask, this is not going, if they're waiting. You have so many entities that are not visible to the naked eye that are around you all the time, just
Mm.
waiting to be of assistance. And just allow them to help you. Allow them in. Be friends with them. Start developing a relationship with them. Start conversations with them, you know? And so it may sound strange, but I promise you, once you start doing this, your life will never be the same. Can I share a story?
Please do. Your life will never be the same. Go right ahead.
I
You will
actually
be
have
amazed at what your life becomes. Like,
I
wow.
actually have 2 stories, real quick.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about toilet paper. Toilet paper,
Oh,
can't find
please.
toilet paper,
These
all that stuff.
people. I never missed a beat. I never paid attention to any of it. I didn't know it was such a commodity until they kept telling me. And I was like, okay, continue with the story.
Yes. I live in Michigan, and Michigan's been shut down for a week now. But right before then, people started acting weird, because they could feel the preamble to this. It was like the preamble to this whole thing. And you could go to the store. I noticed there was no paper products. Now, I didn't need any at the time, but I'm just noticing there's no paper products. And so I was out shopping one time, went to Trader Joe's, one of my favorite places. And I was coming home, and I stopped at the Meijer. Meijer is the grocery store here. And what led me to stop there was like, go to Meijer. That's the voice I heard.
Oh, the
That's the
voice.
voice I heard. It's like, okay. And I pull into Meyer's parking lot. It is jammed I'm like,
Yeah.
there's no way there's toilet paper or any kind of thing in this. And I started laughing, and the voice says, keep going. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
And so I'm walking and I'm checking out people's baskets, and there's absolutely no toilet paper in anybody's basket. And I said, well, let me go and get some freezer bags because I need some freezer bags. And I'll check out the aisle on my way back to the checkout line. And I go get my freezer bags, and I'm walking past the aisle where all the paper products are, and it's like nothing. Absolutely nothing on both sides of the aisle, all the way to the far end. There's like a couple of singleton of paper towels, those singleton rolls, tossed up on the top shelf. And I look directly in front of me, and on the bottom shelf is one pack of 9 rolls equals 36 rolls of toilet paper. And I start laughing. I mean, a glow around it.
Yeah, it materialized for you, I'm sure. Because guess what? People that work for God, we ain't got time for doing all of this. They give us stuff all the time from spirit realms. We ain't got time for none of that foolishness that these people be running around. Ain't no spiritual worker, light worker got time for this shit. I ain't got time for that.
Exactly.
Make something appear in front of me, and they do it all the time. Look at that.
It was like at the intersection, the T, it was on the bottom shelf. And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm laughing because I'm like, okay, by the time I get there, someone's going to walk by and pick up this toilet paper. Nobody.
They can't see it.
They can't see it.
They can't see
it. And I pick it up, and I'm laughing, and I'm still looking at people's baskets.
Looking around.
Nobody has any toilet paper.
Like, this is exactly why we say your consciousness is creating your experience. Exactly. So if you're lacking something, that's because the lack is in the consciousness. Because there's no lack. I don't even care if they wipe out the whole place of toilet paper. Right. Spirit will still give you a 9-roll, 36 pack.
Exactly. Second story. I mentioned I do renovations, and I do home renovations.
Yeah.
And I'm working on a property it's a duplex, and we needed 2 exterior doors that look the same because they're going to be side by side. Mm-hmm. And I like going to salvage warehouse places, and Detroit has some great salvage warehouse places. So go to this place called Architecture Salvage Warehouse. If you're ever in Detroit, check it out. They're closed right now, but when they're open, wonderful place.
Okay.
Over 500 doors there. And they have them all wrapped and everything else. And I know the measurements and all this other stuff. I have my contractor with me. We're looking at doors. We find one door. It's beautiful brown wood door, 6 panels, has the holes pre-cut for the doorknobs and the locks. Yes. I said, wouldn't it be great to find the exact same door?
Wouldn't it be great? I don't know about that because wouldn't it be great if?
Yeah. And so George says, well, I don't know about that. So let's keep looking. 5 minutes later, he calls out, Jewa, come here. He pulls out a door. It has no holes drilled in it. The exact same door.
The pair to go together.
I'm like, that's all God. All God.
That's it. And so, that's it. And you know what I always ask myself, Jewa? Why do we not trust that same thing with every goddamn thing? Why don't we trust everything to that? Right? Because obviously it has everything covered down to the tiniest detail before you even know you need it. Why don't we trust our whole life to that?
It's just breaking mental habits, breaking the subconscious programming that we have. I do that kind of work. I do that kind of coaching. And that's what it comes down to. Most people are not even aware of the habits that they have, the mental habits that they have. And so,
and the ego is just running the show.
Yeah, so you really have to, I said, those are my two stories, but you really have to understand who's running the show, and be willing to listen.
I love it. So, Jewa, where can everyone get a hold of you before we close? And we're going to put the links below too. How can they find you? How do you want them to find you? Because they're going to come looking for you.
If you want to email me, the best email is info@drjewa.com. That's info@drjewa.com. And that's Jewa with a J. You can check out my website, drjewa.com. Those are the two best.
At Amazon.com.
Amazon.
By all means.
Yes. And the whole reason why I was on here in the first, I forgot all about
we definitely gonna hook up the book. Definitely get the book right away. Get the book available in paperback and Kindle. But I would definitely say get the paperback version because it's just so beautiful. It's so well done. It's such a beautiful book. Congratulations, Jewa. You did that. She did that. There's a show now called She Did That. I'm going to say that about you. She did that. All right. I know we got to run. Love you. Have a beautiful evening. God bless.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Oh, my God. So awesome.